Hey there friends, Dan here, and today we are ranking every 2D Mario game. Whenever I go through the 3D games at a later point, I'm going to be doing like a 3D ranking, but today I'm really only focusing on the 2D games because I feel like they kind of exist within their own like kind of parallel dimension or parallel kind of system, and in a lot of ways it's really hard to compare them to the 3D games. The like side games or games that like spawned offshoot series, I'm not really going to be focusing on those because I consider those kind of separate, and we'll probably cover those in a separate video. So like Yoshi's Island, Super Paper Mario, Super Princess Peach. I might cover that at a later point. I've always wanted to play it, but I won't be covering that in this video. And so 3D games come in at a later time, but these are my 2D selections. So enjoy the video, guys. Super Mario Land is such a hard one for me because I really love this game. I love so many of the things that it did. I love how experimental it was. But if I'm being honest, although I enjoyed this game, I don't really see myself returning to it a lot. I don't have a ton of childhood nostalgia for it because I didn't own it as a kid. And it's the shortest game on this list. And as far as like Mario's movement is concerned, like I've described in previous videos, like that's really important to me. Is just a game that feels consistent in its movement. Super Mario Land just is a little lacking in that regard. And so I love Super Mario Land. I love the music. It's super awesome. But many of the games higher on this list really just have more of a place in my heart. When I learned that there was not one, but two versions of Super Mario Bros. 2, my mind was blown. I remember seeing the lost levels on the Wii Virtual Console when I was in like 7th grade. But then I played it, and it was really hard. And it wasn't just hard, it was frustrating. It was like Ocarina of Time Master Quest for the original Super Mario Bros. But in a way, it just felt like a lot of the stages were like the reject stages, like the ones that they were like, okay, this one needs a little bit more time in the oven before it makes it into the actual game. And for that reason, I just I love that it exists for everybody out there that wants that intense level of challenge. So for all of you, Dark Souls diehard fans that are like, I want to cry when I play Super Mario Brothers, glad this game exists for you. But for me, it just wasn't really the most enjoyable, which is why a lot of games beat it out on this list. New Super Mario Bros. 2 is probably the least necessary game in this entire series. It was the first Mario game that came out that I and a lot of other people were like, why does this exist? We've already got New Super Mario Bros. And then the one on the Wii had multiplayer. And so why do we have this game as well? That's like just the same thing, but just a lot more coins. I guess it added the Tanuki suit back in there, but that's not an original thing. Like it was already added back into 3D Land, and are we just using the same ideas over and over again? The reason I placed it higher than the other two is because it's just, I will say that I have a lot of fun playing this game, and that fun factor is a big deal to me in this list. But I will say that its kind of lack of originality is one thing that made it pretty easy to put lower on the list because of that. Super Mario Bros. 2 is weird. I remember when it first came out on the Game Boy Advance as Super Mario Advance. That was actually the way I originally experienced it because I wasn't alive when it came out on the NES. But I remember playing it, and even as a little kid being like, this is different than Mario. I'm jumping on enemies and they're not getting defeated. They're not dying. I have to throw them? What is this? And so I remember being like, this is different. It's cool. I respect it and I really love it. But whenever I'm going for a Mario game, this is not really the first one that I go to because it's so different. And so it's kind of like Zelda 2 in that regard. In my mind, like I love what it did and I love all the things that it experimented with, but it's not really my first thing that I go to whenever I think of Zelda, or in this case, Mario. When New Super Mario Bros. Came out on the DS, I played the heck out of it. And then when it came out on the Wii and they added co-op and they added multiplayer and, the world was bigger and all that, I played it not as much. I never really figured out why I didn't play this one as much. Maybe it was the fact that my brothers were a lot older, so I was playing a lot more single player games because they were already in college and stuff like that. And so I just wasn't as drawn to the idea of co-op. Also, if it was on the DS, I automatically loved it more because I just loved having my DS in front of me and not having to play it on the TV. So maybe that was it. But I will say, like, I think New Super Mario Bros. Wii is awesome. A lot of people forget that it was the first, like, fully co-op 4-player Mario game. I think that 3D World really took that to the next level. But Mario Bros. Wii is a great game that I think did everything the DS game did, but better. All right, guys, Super Mario Bros. Is a really, really tough one to place. I gotta say, I had to think about a lot of things whenever I put it here on the list. Going back and playing it, I had so much fun because even from the very beginning, they had this idea of consistency and rhythm in Mario's movement. But at the same time, you know, I can't lie to myself and say that I enjoyed it more than a lot of the games that are higher on this list. You know, part of that is that I didn't have the childhood nostalgia for the original game, but also part of it is just I think that the later games were able to innovate in a lot of creative new ways. And so for me, I can't place it low on this list because of just everything it did for gaming. I have to view it as a product of its time and say, man, it set the standard. But I also think that a lot of the later games did things better, and I really appreciate how they did things better. Now, I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for putting this above the original Super Mario Bros., but New Super Mario Bros. Holds a really special place in my heart. I mean, it came out when I was in middle school, and that was like at the peak of my like DS like handheld days. Being able to experience like something so classic like the original Mario Bros., but in a new way that like I had played a lot of these newer games, and seeing that DNA merged with the old DNA and create something that wasn't totally original, but was also fresh at the time. You know, we hadn't had 3 New Super Mario games already. You know, this was the first one, and I could play it on my DS. And so New Super Mario Bros. Deserves a lot more credit than it gets, and was a really special game to me. But the game that really doesn't get enough credit is New Super Mario Bros. U. Like, it is such a robust game. There's so much content. It has the multiplayer element from Wii. It has, this fully connected world map from Super Mario World. And it also has this whole other side mode where you can play, these challenges, which adds a lot of replay value. Now, yes, it was the 4th New Super Mario Bros. Game that looked pretty much identical to the other 3. And yes, it did come out in the same year as New Super Mario Bros. 2 on the 3DS. We hadn't gotten a true 3D Mario game like 64 in years. But honestly, New Super Mario Bros. U, I think that if it wasn't the 4th New Super Mario Bros. Game, it would be remembered a whole lot better. All right, now we're getting to the big dogs. And for me, the 3rd biggest big dog is Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins. If you haven't played this Game Boy game, pick it up. Go to Game Exchange, get a Game Boy. I don't care how much it costs you, you're playing it today. This game is amazing. The non-linearity of it. It has Wario. And Wario led to Waluigi. Come on, guys. Before Super Mario Odyssey, tell me one game where you actually used coins as currency. I can tell you, 6 golden coins. Super Mario Land 2 did so many things that were so ahead of its time and had so many wacky creative ideas that I just feel like it is one of the perfect poster children for what Mario is trying to do. And so Super Mario Land 2, you're not the best Mario game out there, but you are super dang good and you need to be remembered and celebrated. To celebrate Super Mario Bros. 3, I really just am blown away by how many ideas are in this game and how just brimming with content it is. I think that honestly, in so many ways, it's one of the wackiest Mario games out there and really contains so much of what Mario is trying to be. It still holds up today and is still one of the tightest games control-wise. It's just an incredibly solid experience that you should play. Super Mario Bros. 3 is one of the best games of all time, period. I could stop there, I could stop the video, and you'd be like, yeah, that's pretty true. But the number 1 choice is Super Mario World. Guys, I know this is biased, but this game is perfect. This game is flawless. It took everything that Nintendo learned from the first few Mario games and just made a perfect package with tied a nice little bow. Plus, you've got Yoshi, guys. Come on, Yoshi. We're talking about everybody's favorite little dinosaur guy with an endless appetite. This guy is your best friend. until you ditch him to fall into a pit, and that's sad. Mario had to have his life saved though, so this is not the most healthy friendship, but I will say that Yoshi did come in clutch many times for me. And when it comes to Mario World, I obviously have the nostalgia. I've talked about that a lot in these videos, but I also just think that from the stage design, the exploration, everything that you're doing in the game is just tied together in a really natural way, but also a way that feels fresh every single time I play it. I don't think that 2D Mario gets any better than this, and honestly, I would say that 3D Mario 2 has to contend with Super Mario World as well for some of the best titles out there. Like, this is one of the big wigs when it comes to Mario, but also just gaming in general. Like, look at Super Mario World when you're making a platformer, guys. I don't know if you're making a platformer, but if you are, look at Super Mario World. So what'd you think? That was my rankings, but I'd love to hear your choices in the comments below. Did you totally agree and you're like, Daniel, this is the perfect ranking system? Or were you like, man, I disagree. I really think that Super Mario Land is the best one ever made. Let me know what you think and if you disagreed at all, and I would love to talk more Mario because I just really think Mario's pretty cool. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate y'all hanging out today. If you're new to the channel, check out my reflection videos where I go deep into each individual game that I'm playing and try to discern what I can learn and grow from as a person from those games. I believe that video games are works of art and that they have the power to enrich our lives, and that's what I love to discuss in these videos. So if that resonates with you, leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when more videos are coming up. But that's all for this time, guys, so have a great day.